Oh, hello, hello. And yes, I am here live again on another Wednesday, and it's actually beautiful weather. Oh, I hope I'm not tempting it. Knock wood. Can we actually say it's finally spring? We've had, what, 2 or 3 days of nice weather here at my palatial estate in Collingwood, so I hope it means we are finally having some decent weather. Oh, yes, I just wanted to double check notifications as always. So, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. It is wonderful to see you all. Yes, I am back here live from my palatial estate in Collingwood, Ontario, Canada. I'm about 2 hours north of Toronto. I'm Michael Smith, the National Education Manager of Janome Canada, and back here live in our Janome Canada Facebook page, Janome Americas, Janome Sewing Machines Facebook page, Janome Canada YouTube, and Janome America YouTube. So you can always go back and review these presentations on YouTube. Facebook is deleting them after 30 days now. So make sure to go back and subscribe to our various YouTube channels. You can always go back and review later. Oh, and Linda is here. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Yes, it's wonderful to share the Janome love with you all. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to share with you one of my most fabulous feet. Again, Janome's got so many additional presser feet. Our machines already come with a lot, but this is an additional specialty presser foot that you can really use no matter what kind of sewing you do. So let me just flip this around. Again, camera. You don't want to see my messy sewing room. I'm desperately trying to clean it up. I've been so busy. I've been traveling again, which is so good. Get out on the road, share the Janome love in person. Oh, Shirley is here. Hello, hello. It's great to see you. It's wonderful. So yes, today I am back on my Skyline S7 AE Anniversary Edition, but this fabulous specialty presser foot I'm going to share with you is available for a number of machines. And what foot is it? Well, it is the fabulous Janome Bi-Level Foot, and the letters, all Janome presser feet are, oh my gosh, you have both a bi-level feet. How did you know? Yes, maybe you saw my Janome Life blog this morning. Yes, about the bi-level foot is the BL foot, because Janome's presser feet are all lettered, so that is the BL foot for bi-level foot. And the cool thing about this foot, you'll see many convenient markings on the toe of the foot. Here, you'll see a marking here, ooh, a marking here, marking here, marking here, marking here. But the main thing about this foot is you'll see the right side is down lower than the left side. It's this offset or bi-level, two different levels lower on the right than the left. It is very cool. Now, it comes in a blister pack like this, and this specifically for 9mm machines, it says. And again, full instructions on the back of the blister pack, and they're letting you see all of those guides that are in millimeters. I do most of my measuring in feet and inches. But there's the millimeter measurements of all of those little tick marks. So again, you can get this from your fabulous Janome dealer. Now, again, initially was only for 9mm machines, and there's a fabulous bulletin on the Janome Global site. So you type in your browser, Janome Global site. Here is a Janome bulletin. And here for 9mm machines, they give you the part number right there. So this is a snap-on foot that you can get. Again, this one specifically for 9mm machines. And that refers to the width. You'll even see there the width of the presser foot in here, the width of the opening, and that corresponds with the width of the needle plate here. That is 9mm. So here is a bulletin explaining all about this foot, when you would use it, how you use it. But if you don't have a 9mm machine, don't despair. Janome really does try to listen to the feedback. And also there was a bulletin about the bi-level foot. Look, for 7mm for 5 to 7 snap-on machines, Look at that with all the various markings on the guides. So yes, you can use this foot. There is the part number for your 7mm machines. This is for 5 and 7mm top loading machines. There is your part number for that. So yes, it's not only 9mm, as this bulletin says. Here is for 5 and 7mm. And where I got these, again, just very briefly, you go type in your browser, Janome Global site. And then once you get on the global site, you can scroll down, and I scroll down here to Janome Bulletins. And you click on the bulletins. Here's Janome Bulletins. And then you scroll down. They're grouped by, there's some software bulletins, there's the Serger and Cover Pro bulletins, and then down here for sewing. And then we can scroll down and see, oh yes, about all the different new presser feet available, and then find the bi-level foot. There we go. And then click, you can print this out. Now I showed previously in, yes, imperial measurement. Yes, I'm definitely an imperial measurement kind of guy. I never did get used to metric. But yes, as I showed in a previous live, I think it was last month, 2 months ago, I keep a lot of my presser feet. I have a whole binder, Janome presser foot binder. You get page protectors, and then there you slip your bulletins in this binder. I've got labels here on the tab so I can easily find, here is my bulletin. And as a tip for one of our viewers, she shared that she gets rid of the blister pack, but she copies out. You see, that's the back of the blister pack that I photocopied. And then I put this here in a page protector that I can keep in my binder. You don't have to worry about keeping the plastic. And then with this page protector even, I have my little sample, and then I would include my presser foot in this binder. So there is my presser foot. I know where it is. I've got all the information I need. So the cool thing about this bi-level foot, well, when will we use it? As you can maybe see in my sample, this is some thick wool melt-in that I had left over from another project. I did my regular seam. You'll see I folded my seam allowances here to the left. And when I want to do this row of top stitching, which maybe you'll see in my red thread, but you can see the texture of that top stitching. It's approximately 1/4 of an inch from the edge of this seam line. This bi-level foot, again, because that right side is lower, so I can run the foot right along, and it works perfectly along that edge. So yes, we can do our top stitching with this foot. And again, we've got these convenient markings that we could use to help us align our needle. So it is a snap-on foot. There we go. And that's clicked in. Perfect. So now when I want to do, in this case, I will do this seam when I want to, I want to edge stitch or top stitch. Now, edge stitch is about, 1/8 of an inch away from the seam line. And the top stitching is about 1/4 of an inch from the seam line. So what I'm going to do first is just sew my regular seam. Now, this is thick. It's actually felt. But it's easily about 1/8 of an inch thick. This is 1/8 of an inch thick. It's quite thick. So this foot, we can use it for, it doesn't have to be thick fabrics. It could be any fabrics. When I'm doing my thick layers, though, just as an aside, yes, I'm going to use my button shank plate here on the back of my foot to help keep it nice and level. Now, I'm going to do my regular seam. In this case, I'm lining up my fabric with my 5/8 inch lines that are on my needle plate, my patented needle plate, and my bobbin cover here, just to sew a regular seam. Now, this foot, again, it's 9mm wide, so I can move my needle position. I've got 91 needle positions here on the Skyline S7 AE. So right now, I'm just using center needle position, and I'm just going to get rid of my button shank plate. Now that I've started that seam, you see even that thick layers They work so well, we use that button shank plate to keep our presser foot level. We don't want the presser foot up like that. We keep it level, it'll feed much easier. So here I have just quickly done my seam. Now, when I do these thicker layers, also make sure that you lengthen your stitch. I have a long stitch here. In this case, it's 4.0, but you'd never know it because of these thicker layers. So make sure you lengthen your stitch when you're stitching through all these thick layers. So there, my seam allowance. I'm going to press it to the left-hand side. And again, because the toe of my foot, the right side of my foot is lower than the left, then this is what's going to produce this perfect guide for us. Let me just slide that back into place. And again, I can take the thick end. I want the thick end of the button shank plate behind my presser foot to make sure that it stays level. And again, a nice long stitch. And yes, I'm just going to sew. There we go, just to get it started. And can you see, because of this foot being lower on the right-hand side, I can align this seam line right up against it. I don't need to mark the fabric. Now, in this case, I'm at center needle position, which is, there's a middle notch in our foot. There's 3 notches included in the toe of our foot. I'm at the middle notch, which is center needle position. And again, this is going to be about a generous 1/8 of an inch away from our seam line. So how the distance of your needle, that's up to you. Because this was such a thick layer, I kept that needle purposely over about an inch, 1/8 of an inch away. Look at that perfect row of stitching. This is typically edge stitching when it's a little closer to the seam line. That one's a little further apart, and I sewed it again this way, so that right side is down here. This is more like about 3/8 of an inch. And all you could do is use your little seam gauge. If you wish, you can just measure over from where the right side of the foot is lower, measure over, or you simply just move your needle position. I'll go back to this side again. And I've aligned my foot. I'll just align it like that. And here I'm in center needle position. But again, we have 91 needle positions on our 9mm machine. And then our 7mm, we typically then would have 71 needle positions, depending on the machine. So again, I'm going to move my needle over to the left. Now, in this case, I want my top stitching further away. So we can go out to, I'll do 2.0. What does that line up to? I'm kind of in between these 2 notches. It may be a little hard for you to see. And I could measure over from my seam line with my little seam gauge. And where is my needle going to be? In that case, it would be, oh, yes, it's definitely a very generous 1/4. I know it's hard for you to see, it's so close up. But it's definitely a generous 1/4 of an inch over. Because of these thicker layers, you do typically, most top stitching would be a 1/4 of an inch. In this case, I'm going to move my needle all the way over as far as I can go. And when in doubt, it'll stop, and you'll see there's a notch, a far notch of this, and it's more, again, like a very generous 1/4 of an inch away. And make sure I've got that lined up. Perfect. And this will be, again, and it sews through. And you notice this thick? I have 3 layers of this felt. And you know how my Skyline S7 is just sewing it beautifully? Look at how thick that is. Again, these are about an 1/8 of an inch thick. Look how thick that is. Isn't that amazing? But Skyline S7, no problem. Look at that beautiful stitching. 1 row, 2 row, perfectly even top stitching, edge stitching. Again, I could take my little gauge over, and yes, it is there is my 1/4 of an inch, and then that is about 3/8 of an inch away from my seam line. this row of stitching is about 3/8 of an inch from that seam line. So really beautiful. Now this foot as well, I can use it, the width of the foot from this little guide where my right side is lower than the left side to the edge of the foot here is about 1/2 of an inch away. So let's do it on this side, on this bit of stitching. Extra high pressure foot lift, by the way, on my Skyline S7 and most of our machines. So again, just typically with our foot like this, again, I'm about 3/8 of an inch away. But if you wanted to, again, you could just use your foot just as is, and I can just sew, again, with the edge of my foot. I could even, if I wanted my stitching further away, I could just align the foot, you know, from this way over, or I could align the foot against my seam line this way. And I'm going to move my needle position back over. So I'm just using from the edge of the foot along this seam line and move my needle over to the right. So do you see, there's lots of versatility. I'm over 9 millimeters as far as I could go. There is lots of versatility with this foot. So now I'm just running the edge of this foot along my seam line. If I want to create another row of even, this is just decorative stitching. It's not doing anything. It's just a decorative stitch, like it's not holding another layer down. It's just a decorative stitch. Get rid of that extra thread. But again, how perfect that is. So how even. So just by butting the edge of the foot, how even that is. And again, I could measure over, oh, that's about just a generous 1/4 of an inch, just over that. It's about almost 5/8 of an inch from the edge of the foot with my needle all the way over. But again, my needle could be back to center needle position. And there is a little guide. Again, back to center needle position here. And then I could run with my seam line here, my edge of my foot there, another row of stitching, and it's perfectly even. What Janome machine? I have an M17. Oh yes, this is a 9, whoops, sorry. This is a 9 millimeter snap-on foot, this bi-level foot. Again, your blister pack will say specifically 9 millimeter. But again, this bi-level foot is now available for the 7 millimeter machines, 5 to 7 millimeter snap-on machines, or it's a snap-on foot. So it's available for the 5 to 7 millimeter models. So we've got more flexibility with this foot. It'll fit more machines. Now, another good reason, this is just regular quilting cotton. I've got a little bit of interfacing in it to make a strap. We're all loving tote bags, making these tote bags. But, oh, there, let me get back to where I was. This is the ideal foot, again, for that edge stitching, that perfect top stitching and edge stitching. So all I have to do is align my strap with, again, the right side of my foot is lower. So my strap is right up against the right side of that foot that's lower. It's providing like a fence or a guide. So my fabric can't go any further. It's perfectly aligned. Now this is center needle position again, but I want my edge stitching to be closer. Again, I personally like my edge stitching. Do you see it there? It's about 1/8 of an inch right there. It's about 1/8 of an inch away. You can measure if you wish. So again, I just align my needle over. I have a previous line because I do these demos over and over again. I was just at a quilt show in Feversham, Ontario with our fabulous Janome dealers, Threads That Bind. I did do a Facebook Live from there, but the internet was not so good. But I persevered and I did that Facebook Live. You can go back to Janome Canada Facebook and Janome Canada YouTube to see it. Oh, now, since I'm in my regular quilting cotton now, I don't need quite as long of stitch. Whoops, I'm so sorry for that camera adjustment. I was, for that really thick felt, I was at 4.0. Now I'm going to drop this down to 3.0 is what I personally like to when I'm sewing through, these are, again, 2 layers of, well, actually, it's more than 2 layers. It's quilting cotton, again, just folded over and folded over again. So it's actually 4 layers of quilting cotton, and there's a little bit of interfacing or stabilizer in between. Again, this is a strap for a reusable shopping bag. And that's all I have to do. Like, I'm just guiding my fabric a little bit, but it's just going along because the right side of this bi-level foot is lower. So it's acting like a fence to keep this line of stitching perfectly parallel down my strip. And again, look at that, how beautiful that is, how consistent that is. So down one side, down the other, perfect. Your 4300 QDC is a 7mm machine. Again, your Janome bulletins on your Janome Global site, as well as our accessory catalog on janome.ca. There is the part number for the 5 to 7mm bi-level foot. So all that information, again, on the Janome Global site or our janome.ca site, the accessories catalog, that's the part number for the 5 to 7mm foot. And then again, this is the part number for the 9mm bi-level foot. Again, all this information on the Janome Global site bulletins or on janome.ca, janome.com. You check the accessory catalog. So that is another good use for this foot. Again, all that top stitching, that edge stitching, it can be through, again, your thicker layers. It can be through just your regular quilting cotton. And again, this foot, it primarily is for that edge stitching, that top stitching, because again, the lower side is, the right side is lower. But again, I can easily use this foot. That's the nice thing about a lot of these specialty presser foot. I can use it. I'm just going to now baste. I've already done my strap then here. Now I'm just going to baste across before I do this seam. Well, I don't need to change my presser foot. Do you see how I have this edge of the foot lined up against that lower right side? It just acts as a perfect guide. So in this case, eventually I'll come back and finish this tote bag one of these days. And again, I'll finish this tote bag, required a 1/2 inch seam when I sew it to the lining. But right now I'm just basting on these straps. So I just need, again, a stitch. It could be 1/4 of an inch. In this case, it's just 1/8 of an inch away. So doesn't that work perfect? Oh, I don't want to make that crooked. So doesn't that work perfect? Like, I don't need to switch back to all these different presser feet to do something so simple as just a basting line across, just to hold this little carrier down, just to hold the strap down. I just did that. I didn't have to switch out my foot. I left it as is. Now, another good use for this foot, again, we don't have to keep switching presser feet. This is a 9mm wide foot. Well, I've decided to, instead of this little carrier that I'm making for this tote bag, do you see how my strip is, folded in half there, just like I made my handles? I don't want to do one row of stitching down one side and one row of stitching down another. Instead, what I decided to do, this big wide box stitch, as it's called, it goes down, across, down, across, down, across, down, across. It's called a box stitch. It's great for joining batting together. It's great for joining 2 pieces of fabric together in general. And what I'm going to do now is use it to tack down this strip instead of doing 2 lines of parallel stitching. So instead, I can go over box stitch, in this case, Skyline S7AE. It's number 22. Many machines have this box stitch in utility stitches here. And instead of 5.0, I'm going to go all the way up to 9mm. That's the wonderful thing about having these, slightly higher end machines. The Skyline line is the perfect, like, sort of middle of the road machine. But It has all these wonderful high-end features like our 9mm, like our computerized touchscreen controls. And now I'm going to sew this. Again, I don't have to change. I could switch back to the F foot. I could switch back. Let me keep this in line. I could switch back to the F foot. I could stitch back to my regular zigzag foot. I could do whatever, but again, I'm just leaving this regular, the BL foot, the bi-level foot, like no problem. It works out perfectly. And that way with the box stitch, it may be a little harder to see, but with the box stitch, do you see how I don't have to do the 2 lines of stitching? It just saves time. So again, we don't have to keep changing the presser feed all the time. So it's really fun. Now, something is brand new that I don't even have one yet. But here, brand new, Janome America, I believe, has this. Janome Canada, it's coming. We're going to get it at the around September. It's the left bi-level foot. And what that means is the left-hand side is lower than the right-hand side. In this case, this regular bi-level foot, the original bi-level foot, the right side was lower than the left side. This new foot, left side, we're going to be able to stitch our binding on with this foot, as many people wanted. This is a Janome Life bulletin. You can go on Janome Global site, or sorry, it's not a Janome Life bulletin. It's a Janome bulletin on the Janome Global site. You can go on to Janome Life blog and you'll find lots of information about the original bi-level foot. And yes, Linda, this left bi-level foot will be available in Janome Canada in around September is when we're expecting it, September, October. There's the part number. It's not in stock now in Canada. In the US, it may be in stock. Double check with your Janome dealers individually. I know in Canada, I just checked before this live, which is why I don't even have one myself to demo how effective it is to use for binding. This is why everybody wanted the left bi-level foot for binding. We did do some binding. Go on Janome Life blog. You'll see our fabulous educator, Amanda, doing. And in my previous lives, I've done binding with this right bi-level foot. That just means the binding is spun the other way. The quilt is here in the bed of our machine, and we're binding it this way. Many people said, oh no, I don't want to do that. I want to leave the bulk of my quilt this way. I need the left side lower than the right. So that's where this left bi-level foot comes into play. Again, there is the part number. In Canada, it is not in stock now, but again, later in the, again, September, October is when we're expecting it. The States may already have it. So double check with your Janome dealer about this bi-level foot. It works so good. It's such a versatile foot. What is your stitch length? So in this case of my box stitch, it is preset at 2.5. I can't go any bigger. I can go smaller, but I chose to keep it longer at that 2.5. I'll use my stylist. I kept it at 2.5 because I'm going through, in this case, I was going through the 4 layers of my cotton fabric. So I kept it longer. When I was going through my big, can you believe the layer? Because again, look at that. Look how thick that is. And that went through my Skyline S7 just perfectly. And that's at 4.0. Does that look at 4.0? No. In general, the thicker your layers, the longer your stitch. You need to experiment. So in this thick felt, that's like 1/8 of an inch thick, each layer, basically. That I did at 4.0. My strap here with 4 layers of quilting cotton, I did at 3.0, which generally I do most of my top stitching and edge stitching. because top stitching, edge stitching like this, it's functional. It's holding down, each side of the where the strap is folded. It's tacking down that fold. But top stitching and edge stitching, they're decorative stitches. They are functional. They're holding your seam allowance down flat, but they're also decorative. So they should be longer stitches to begin with. You don't need a really tight stitch. It's not holding anything together as much as the construction. Also a perfect time for that top stitching and edge stitching. I have my Iris polyester thread, the Iris Bright thread in my machine right now. It's a great time to use, again, some decorative threads for your top stitching and edge stitching. So I personally love using thread. The polyester thread is typically for embroidery, but I love using it for my top stitching and edge stitching. It really adds that little bit of sparkle. So yes, exactly. It is a fabulous multi-purpose foot, the Janome Bi-Level Foot. So again, the original Bi-Level Foot came out for 9mm machines. There is your part number for 9mm machines. It's a snap-on foot. But then again, Janome listened to the feedback, and there is a right Bi-Level Foot for 5 to 7mm top-loading machines. There is your part number. And then brand new, again, Janome America may have this. Check with your Janome subsidiaries around the world. Janome America may already have this left Bi-Level Foot. There is the part number. Janome Canada, again, it is not in stock yet in our warehouse. It'll be in around September or October. As soon as it's in the warehouse, I will certainly request one, get sent to me, and then I can demo it. And again, as a wonderful foot specifically, yes, we can do our top stitching and our edge stitching with you'll see in the bulletin there, you see how the left side is lower than the right. So great for top stitching and edge stitching, as I just demoed, but specifically for your binding, when you want to do your machine binding, this Bi-Level Foot, left Bi-Level Foot, will be the foot you definitely want. So just as a sneak peek, I thought I would share with you, but just to let you know, it's not in stock in Canada yet. But yes, it is really, really fun. There are so many additional pressure feet available to help you get more from your Janome machine. You don't always necessarily need a new machine. You just want to do more with the machine you already have. So these extra optional specialty pressure feet will definitely help you do more with your machine for, again, faster, easier, more professional results every time. It's so wonderful. There's no end to the creativity. So thank you, everyone, so much for joining me today. It's wonderful to see you all. I will see you all next week. And oh, what will I be demoing? I will see. I'll share with you all. I hope you all follow our Janome Life blog. And I always do a little sneak peek on Wednesday morning that I share what I'm going to be demoing next week. So you'll just have to subscribe to our Janome Life blog. And of course, tune in to Janome America's Facebook page. They always do an announcement the beginning of the week, what we're going to be demoing in the various lives as well. So you can always get a little sneak peek, and I certainly hope to see you all next Wednesday, same time, same place. Thank you. Yes, I want that Bi-Level, left Bi-Level Foot too, so I hope I'll get the first one whenever it arrives in our warehouse. I'll certainly let our Canadian audience know. And yes, for the rest of you, make sure that you check with your Janome dealer in your area to see if they have it in stock. So thank you, everyone. I will see you all next week. Bye.